Yo, what is good, my anime faithful? What is good, yo? Guys, Cop Craftle is pretty awesome, in my opinion. I don't know where this show is going to wind up at the end of it all. Like, what is going to be the end all be all for it all? But if I am a guessing man, I'm guessing we're gonna see some pretty crazy stuff within this whole exchange of magic now that we know the humans are getting smart enough to trust, the technology is better somewhere else. We got someone who's an absolute monster human. Like, this man was keeping up, not only just keeping up, but giving a match to our main little sword princess. And not only was he doing it, he was looking like one of them, so it made a lot of sense for people to be like, oh well, he's one of the people from their, from their side of play, so of course he's keeping up. But this was just a straight up human going toe to toe with her, and she giving him a true compliment of calling him a warrior. So it kind of goes to show you how this show is definitely took a break. I feel like it took a break to kind of make sure all this was polished up, because this is really important right now, is seeing not only are the humans using technology from the elves, or whatever you want to call them. You can call them ETs, I guess, now. Holy crap. But they also are at a point where they need, it seems like they need each other, right? Like, they can't beat the combination, because they're using both technology. They're both using magic, and they're using magic and human technology by using guns and stuff like that. So not only are the enemies kind of just using what they're using, it's a funny moment where you're kind of like, oh, the reason why our teammates or our partners are so strong is because they're doing something that now the enemies are just now starting to do, right? Because we do know one of these guys were already learning science, and science isn't a thing that exists in the other world, so that was already something very human that they had picked up relatively quickly. And with our girl, she's just like, the other side should be true as well. Like, if we can learn science, what's stopping you guys from learning, our magic and becoming masters of it? Not only becoming masters of it, but then mixing your own technology within it. So what we get here is probably one of the sickest things that an assassin would ever want, and an assassin that I would never want to have against me. Literally, this guy has a camera that can turn into a gun, and the bullets are the film. So not only are you about to get absolutely destroyed by this guy when he just decides to switch his gun from, or switch his camera from camera mode to shoot you in the body mode. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really even need it by the way he was moving. Please tell me he did look dead to you guys. Like, the way he was fighting was giving off the most dead body fighting I've ever seen. Not only was it seemingly dead body, this man was taking blows upon blows of bullets and still just hopping up like nothing had happened. So, all that being said, you can kind of see where I'm going with that, right? Like, does that seem like something normal humans would be able to do? Take a lot of bullets, keep going after taking said bullets, um, you know, bounce back like nothing happened really. All these things are huge red flags, and of course these red flags then get even crazier because we find out it's literally just a human. And while this human was doing all this, he somehow kept up with our girl. Not only kept up with her, injured her kind of badly. And I mean, he didn't injure her like she needed to be in crutches or she couldn't walk or something, but to think that he was actually keeping up with her and fighting back was pretty impressive in my opinion. But man, oh man, did it feel like this was it felt like it was just not forced, but it just felt so straightforward to the point that once you kind of get all this, you're stuck left to believe like, oh man, like if anybody was to challenge her, you got to come correct. Like you have to be pretty powerful to actually keep up with her. Not only that, make sure you're not getting cut by a sword. And this guy was doing that. That's how ridiculous it was. Not only that, she noticed that he couldn't have been doing all of this as a dead corpse body, so it couldn't have been the puppets. So either like we noticed with the girl who, or the wife of the mayor who is, you know, the one calling all the shots and stuff, either she's the true person working with these like new side of people that got the technology to do I mean, he straight up made himself look like a like an elf, but then in all reality he was just a human using transforming magic. So it's ridiculous how much actually happened throughout all this within such a short span, because all we know now is they are ridiculously ahead of time now than the cops ever will be, because we're listening to the cops hear about all this and they're just like, yeah, this doesn't sound real. You know, like, which is fair. Like, she's literally telling you this is a metal that once you do something to it, it changes complete form and becomes one of the most deadliest things to humans. So yeah, I mean, to not be really skeptical of it would mean you're kind of weird, right? Like, we don't have stuff like that, and then now it's just here all of a sudden we're supposed to accept it as fact. So that's what I really liked about, you know, the humans. It's not like, oh yes, I 100% believe you. I mean, sure, some of them did, but that's mainly because this girl doesn't really have a reason to be lying, right? Like, they trust, she's been working with them this whole time. So if they don't just, and not only that, she's the partner of somebody that's been working this way. So that's what I truly appreciate about the show, is they put forward all of these different ways of making you guess which side people are on. But now that the show has really pushed the elves into a dark spot of them shooting a mayor that had a potential chance of bringing great change and all this to the world, and it being really covered up by, you know, bad people in the background, we're stuck to just guess, you know, what the outcome will be, how much this will actually tear apart, you know, the chances of everybody working together and living together. It might just be one of those cases now where, now that this has happened, they can move forward, which we know the last chief, like one of the last cops that we knew, was fully for the plan of separating, right? Like, not having each other in each other's world. So if a cop was already willing to do that, once I saw these FBI agents showing up, I got that feeling instantly. I was like, oh yeah, these guys, just by the look in their eye, they look like they've already seen some stuff that they don't really appreciate that they've done themselves. Like, they look like they've done something that wasn't what they wanted to do, and they kind of just dead inside. So I don't know how I can see that, but it's usually how animation people make the eyes, and how lifelike they are. Like, some cops are so optimistic and ready to bring good and peace to the world. and you could just see it in their eyes because it's sparkling, and they're probably grinning from ear to ear, and loud, saying stuff proud. These guys straight up roll up with the gun, talking trash, and their eyes already look super dead. I mean, sure, they're FBI agents, so they've probably seen the worst of the worst things you can imagine, or had to hear about the stories and then not be able to even, change whatever happens with the FBI, and it's set in stone. Like, you don't just go back changing what you recorded, right? So anything that might have seemed unjust or unfair or anything like that, it doesn't matter because the FBI has deemed it one way, and that's how it's going to stay. So it's it's one of those things where you're kind of just like, oh man, like, what the heck has this guy seen to seem like he's this angry at our guy? So that being said, I can only imagine where this show is going to go, and we got a couple more episodes to see, but at the end of the give everybody a refresher usually means there's two chances that we're either getting another season or that this whole thing is coming to an end, because they want you to make sure you didn't miss any tiny details that they might have tried to give you. And if you did, here they are. You're gonna miss a full week's episode, but here's this. Giggity giggity. Sorry. Still salty about it. But anyway, my anime people, I got one more video I want to make. And if anything random shows up later today or tonight, I'll definitely try to get a review out for that as well, because something with that card game anime that popped up, I still got to make a post about it for people on Anime Amimo, but I'm glad I did my video on it because it randomly popped up late at night for me, and I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna drop this. So I will definitely be that type of person on this channel, just dropping things that catch my attention or pique my interest or pique the interest of some of my anime people on here that want to hear my opinion on certain shows that we may have the common interest on. So if you guys have shows like that or know of shows coming out that I might enjoy by you seeing the shows I already like, always let me know and I'll be willing to check those things out. So with all that being said, have an amazing one. I'm about to drop another video for y'all, so I hope I see you in there. If not, just take care and peace.